Hey guys, welcome to Beware the Awakening. To the Dark Pendulum, featuring new Team Rocket's Hypno from destined rivals with the bench manipulation attack, forcing opponents to flip a coin for each of their bench Pokemon, hitting 80x damage for each tails, ignoring the effects of weakness and resistance. We're also forcing them to flip 2 coins during Pokemon checkup for the sleep condition with our Altaria from Obsidian Flames using its Soothing Lullaby attack. We've also got 3 Dudunsparce for the draw support along with our regular supporters, 1 TM Turbo Energize, 2 Crispin, 3 Reversal Energy, and 3 Team Rocket's Energy for the acceleration, along with 1 Colossus Tenacity for the special energy surge. Finally, we're also playing 1 Boss, 1 Accompanying Flute to support the bench manipulation attack, 2 Surfer for the switch, 2 Super Rod, and 1 Hyper Aroma to pull out our stage 1 Pokemons. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay and see how well this deck works. Okay, let's go our first game with Dark Pendulum, featuring the new Hypno. And we got our Dragapult coin representing Psychic Dragon. Not exactly Ghost, but you know, pretty close. So we got the Dragon representing Altaria, which is actually a flying as well. I think it turns into Dragon Fairy when it Mega Evolves. We're gonna get new Mega Evolutions for Legends ZA as well. I wonder what Pokemon they're gonna turn into Mega. Obviously Dragonite. Like, Dragonite's definitely getting a Mega Evolution. I think they already revealed one, I'm not too sure. But I saw a Scrafty, which is a bit weird. But I'm pretty excited for the Mega Evolutions. Like, some Pokemons definitely deserve one. 𝑑𝑻𝑪𝒗, I'm not too sure because it's already a pretty good design on its own. I feel like it deserves a Gigantamax, not really a Mega Evolution. Frostlass needs a Mega Evolution. Vileplume maybe? You know, Mega Vileplume would be pretty cool. Yeah, let's just focus on the game. We got Nest Ball, we're gonna bench a Shaymin. Since they're doing a Snipe deck with their Arbok, Arbok can do Spinning Tail, hitting 30 damage to each of our bench Pokemon, so each of your opponent's Pokemon, including their active. So Shaymin is going to help us here, but they actually got the Crobat Snipe, the Crobat ability ping, to basically target any one of our Pokemon, including the Venture Bomb for 2 damage counters. So Golbat, Crobat, and the Bomb hits for 2 damage counter, you know, per card. So they actually gotta evolve enough times and flip enough heads for them to take out our Shaymin. But not to worry, we got rods to, you know, rebench that thing with our Nest Ball. We obviously can't play the Shaymin from our hand because they got Arbok's ability, Potent Glare, which prevents your opponent from playing any Pokemon that have an ability from their hand, except for Team Rocket's Pokemon. So we are not able to play our Dudunsparce. We're not able to play our Fan Rotom from our hand, but then we already have it in play, so that's fine. We're not allowed to rebench our Shaymin from our hand, but we can do it with Nest Ball though. So that's pretty, or even Artazon. So Arbok's ability is not the greatest, but it's certainly a very fun and cool new, you know, out of the ordinary ability. Something unheard of. We got Hassel, 2 copies in our hand. Kinda depressing. Hassel doesn't work against a multi-price deck, so unless if they take out the Shaymin, you know, once they took out the Shaymin with their abilities, because it's not knocked out during Pokemon checkup, it's knocked out during our opponent's last turn, even with abilities, even with damage counters, even on the bench, we still get to play Hassel. We're gonna need our supporter cards because they're locking our Dunsparce draw support. Yeah, so we got our energies. We're just gonna, we can't do damage with our Fan Rotom unfortunately because we need stadium cards in play. We're just gonna retreat and confuse their Arbok with Disarming Voice. So funny thing about this Altaria is that once it evolves, you get to play what lullaby again? What's it called again? Soothing Lullaby to cause them to go to sleep, forcing them to flip 2 coins during Pokemon checkup. But then, before it evolves, you got to confuse them. Pretty cool, right? It's kind of a fun combo, built-in combo. Only has 50 HP though, so kinda needs the 𝑬𝒐𝒂𝒓 against Dragapult, but then I don't really want to play that. So if you guys want to modify the list, you're welcome to do so. Update according to what you think is necessary. I always encourage people to, you know, build their own decks and modify as you see fit. I'm gonna stick with the Shaymin one though, because I don't think Dragapult is a big thing in the ladder these days. Also, I just want to fit in, you know, other item cards and then one boss as well. I wanted to add Lycia's Appeal to the list, but then decided against it just because it only works against your opponent's benched basic Pokemon. So if they have like Evolution EXs or Evolution supports, Lycia doesn't actually help you gust out the active. It doesn't help you pull out one of their bench and confuse the new active. Confusion is pretty cool though. Like if you're not targeting for the sleep, you could actually confuse them and then play your bench manipulation to do big damage. If you are not confident to do the one hit KO, which isn't really that possible, if they have full HP for a, you know, basic EX, if they play like Ogerpon on their bench, if they have like Serendipity or whatever, if they only have 4 Pokemons on their bench, you can actually do bench manipulation while confusing their active, right? But we don't have Gravity Gemstone though, so you should be targeting like basic Pokemons with a higher retreat cost if you want to do Lycia's Appeal. That strategy is kind of difficult. That's the reason why we don't have that card for this list anymore. I don't think we added that initially even, but the thought is there. The thought is definitely there. Yeah, forcing your opponent to flip coins for special conditions, for damage that you do, you know, for abilities, whatever. Like, it's pretty powerful, you know? I do realize that Team Rocket's decks have Articuno that protects them from effects of attacks, but that ability only works on their basic Pokemon. So if they don't play Mewtwo with Articuno, we should be fine. If they play like Nidoking or any evolution EXs, you know, if they play any evolution like Speed Ups as well, if they do Crobat, if they attack with a Crobat, having Articuno on the bench, Arbok, you can still cause them to go to sleep with your Soothing Lullaby. The sleep condition still works. And obviously bench manipulation has no effects, it's only doing damage, so that should be fine. I'm not too sure about the weakness resistance thing though, because like that damage, the print that says damage from this attack is not affected by weakness or resistance. So if they're resistant to Psychic type, I don't think there's anything that's resistant to Psychic moves though. Is there? I don't think there's anything anymore resistant to Fairy type or, you know, Psychic, Ghost. Yeah. There are resistance to Grass, Fighting. What other resistance are there? I think there's only 2 types. I don't think there's any other resistance anymore for the current standard. It's really weird. I've never even thought about resistance. Rarely ever. So yeah, if they are like weak towards Psychic, you know, we may actually be able to do twice as much damage if they have that Articuno in play, which is a bit weird. If they are resistant to Psychic, which there is no such thing apparently, they would be taking 30 less damage. Anyways, back to the game. It's always healthy to check your discard pile, what you have in the prize. Always keep track of, you know, cards inside your deck as well, and what your opponent have in their discard pile, what they've already played. Especially when you search for cards, like, you know, if you get to search with an ability, or if you get to search with a supporter card, whatever, like if you're searching, make sure you get the right cards into your hand, and in order to do that, always refer back to your hand by clicking the inspect board button. I like sometimes I get tired and I don't do that, and then I end up searching for the wrong cards. So especially Crispin, like I don't know why Crispin is just like really annoying, because there are quite a few games where I search for the wrong energy, attach the wrong energy or whatever. It's just like, it's so obvious that we should be doing the right things, but then somehow we wind up making the wrong move. Yeah, so an advice from a veteran player, not really a veteran. I played it for quite a long time, but I'm still trying to improve my gameplay, so there is definitely a lot of room for improvement. I'm just realizing that I'm quite bad in my gameplays. Yeah, it's a work in progress, guys. I'm trying my best, so don't judge me. Kind of lost my train of thought back there. Oh, I wanted to talk about the advice. And advice from me is that always check your board when you're searching for cards. Always check back when you are searching for your discard pile, retrieving cards from your discard pile. You know, refer back and then look back at your discard pile and then refer back again to your hand. What cards are in play, what stadium, what ability is activated, is what Pokemon they have in the active spot with an ability that's being activated, what cards your opponent have in the discard pile. You gotta check constantly. You gotta keep checking. You can't just rely on your brain to remember all of the information and all the facts like all of the time. You gotta keep checking, unless if you are like a supercomputer or something. But yeah, I think I'll just leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you really enjoyed this combo. Take care and bye everyone.